Tom Cruise's tough situation with his daughter, Suri. As a Hollywood star, Tom Cruise doesn't have any trouble getting girls interested in him. For some, his fame and wealth are already enough to make them happy. What's more, many people think he has good looks and a great attitude. Having said that, the actor's love life doesn't always go well. It's easy to see that a lot's happened in Tom Cruise's relationships. There are a lot of people interested in the Hollywood star, but he has trouble keeping friends. Some people have been confused by what keeps happening after 3 divorces. Interested in Scientology. Tom Cruise has a hard time finding someone to settle down with based on his early date experience. When Mimi Rogers came into his life, though, that seemed to change. She was the first woman to marry the Hollywood star, and she's said to have been with him when he joined the Church of Scientology for the first time. How'd they get together? It's not clear because they each have a different story about how they got started. Tom says she was seeing someone at the time, but Mimi says she wasn't. No matter what, a spark is said to have appeared quickly between them, and Cruise fell in love. He was said to have felt this way about someone for the first time. First marriage. Mimi Rogers was Tom Cruise's first wife, but she wasn't the last. The wedding was reportedly very quiet, with only Tom's mom and best man in the present. The pair was together for 3 years before they broke up. There were many ideas about why this happened, such as jealousy and the age difference. When they announced the split, they said in a joint statement that they had problems that they had tried to fix but failed to do so. When Mimi talked to Playboy again in 1993, she said that they broke up because Tom wanted to become a monk. He said that their marriage wouldn't fit into his overall spiritual need, so they broke up. People still ask. More than his other wives, Mimi Rogers is the one who people sometimes forget was married to Tom Cruise. Some people, though, don't forget the strong bond these two once had. There are still enough people who remember Cruise's first marriage to Rogers that they ask about the star, even though the split happened 30 years ago. In an interview with the morning talk and news show Today, she said she gets called whenever something happens with Tom. It seems like everyone wants Mimi's opinion on everything going on in his life, especially his relationships. She said that since they hadn't been together in a long time, she didn't know what to say. During their breakup. When Tom Cruise and Mimi Rogers separated in 1990, the Hollywood star was said to have already had his sights set on Nicole Kidman as a possible new partner. She wasn't the famous Hollywood star that many people now know her as. It took her a while to become known, and Tom saw her for the first time at work. A magazine called Vanity Fair said that Cruise wanted to meet Kidman so badly that he reportedly got her a part in his next movie. He also set up a date for them, which led to another, and so on. Since Tom was going through a breakup at the time, this shocked some friends. A good impression. Tom Cruise had been on several dates by this point, so he was used to trying to get someone to like him. However, even though he worked so hard, it didn't mean he'd win over the person he liked. Nicole Kidman was said to be in love with the Hollywood star, so Tom's luck ran out. She told Vanity Fair that Cruise swept me off my feet, and it didn't take her long to start thinking about getting married. It was clear that the star had to finish his divorce before he could marry someone else, which is why they didn't get married until Mimi Rogers was fully out of the picture. Tom Cruise's child. Tom Cruise and Mimi Rogers didn't get married until 1987. After 3 years of marriage, they were no longer together, and the star had married someone else. For friends of the couple, it must have seemed like they were dating very quickly. But Nicole Kidman is said to have wanted things to go even faster if she had had her way. The reason for this is that the star was desperate to have a baby with Cruise. She wanted this so badly that she told Vanity Fair she didn't care if we were married and she just wanted to have a child. An addition to the family would bring about big changes for the couple, but Nicole was said to be ready to accept that. Several failed attempts. There is, unfortunately, a gap between wanting to have a child and having one. When the couple tried to have more children, they allegedly ran into problems that kept them from reaching their goal. They said that a string of failed pregnancies made them wonder if they would ever be able to have a child together. Even worse, the couple's marriage was said to be suffering because they couldn't have a child. After a while, doctors told Nicole Kidman that it was highly unlikely that she'd be able to get pregnant normally. This made the pair decide to adopt. In the end, they let Connor and Isabella into their home, but had the damage from their previous pregnancies already been done? Church of Scientology. It looked like Tom Cruise loved both his wife and the Church of Scientology. He couldn't decide which of them to follow because they were pulling him in different ways. It's said that his faith tried to make things easier for him by getting Nicole Kidman to help him, which would make everyone happy. Things didn't work out, which is too bad. The fact that the church is said to have told the star to say bad things about her doctor's father probably didn't help. Given how they feel about mental health, it's not a surprise that they asked. Kidman wasn't going to leave her family for the Church of Scientology, though, no matter what anyone said. File for divorce. Nicole Kidman was a very important part of Tom Cruise's life. But because the actor fought against his faith, the Church of Scientology supposedly could no longer afford to have her around. They're said to have started recording the actress's phone calls and getting Tom to support them over his wife. It worked in the end. It was over a decade before they broke up in 2001, after being married for over a decade. Nicole became the second wife of Tom Cruise to get a divorce, which made people wonder who would replace her. Would the actor marry again as soon as he married Mimi Rogers, or would he wait years? Spent less time. At this point, Tom Cruise may have been through 2 divorces, but there was some difference between the two. To begin, the star and Mimi Rogers didn't have any children together, so their breakup was less tense. After they split up, Tom and Nicole Kidman had to figure out how to parent their kids together. Since both people were Hollywood stars, this was unfortunately easier said than done. Kidman didn't have much time for her kids after her split because she was likely busy with a lot of important things. After the split, they spent more time with Tom because of this. Also, Cruise takes the Church of Scientology with him everywhere. Mom fought because. It was more likely that Connor and Isabella would become interested in the Church of Scientology if they spent more time with their father. Nicole Kidman had problems with religion while she was married, so it's possible that she didn't like this. But Nicole didn't seem to be able to do much, and she was away from the kids for so long. This seems to have made her relationship with the kids worsen over the years. One example is that page 6 says Nicole wasn't on the party list when Isabella got married. The Daily Mail also says that neither of Kidman's children went to the funeral of her father when he died. There was a split in the family. Tom's second marriage. Nicole Kidman was Tom Cruise's second wife to leave him, and their divorce happened more than 20 years ago. Since the event, the actor had a lot of time to think about what went wrong and what he might have done differently if she had chosen to. But it looks like nothing could have saved it. It was doomed from the start. What was important was how old Nicole was when she married Tom Cruise. Kidman now thinks she got married when she was too young, at age 23. She told Marie Claire that she thought she should have grown up a bit more before getting married because being married is hard when you're young. Didn't say why. They were both well known by the time they separated. When another of Tom Cruise's relationships ended, people were interested in why they broke up. There's no doubt that some people don't want to talk about a marriage ending. That's why Nicole didn't tell anyone until 10 years later. The woman told Marie Claire that her marriage ran its course. She said that she and her husband had a great relationship, but sometimes things aren't meant to work. Because of all the rumors that the Church of Scientology was involved, a lot of people thought this wasn't the whole story, but that was all Kidman was ready to give. Talk about Tom Cruise. In talks with Nicole Kidman, questions about Tom Cruise still come up from time to time, just like they did with Mimi Rogers. The actress doesn't like to talk about her first marriage. However, no matter what happens between them, she says she doesn't want to say anything out of respect for the man she used to love. Also, that's not the only reason. Nicole is married to another famous person and has had a lot of success. Nicole was married to Tom Cruise, but their marriage didn't work. She's been married to Keith Urban since 2006, and their relationship seems to be doing much better than her relationship with Cruise ever did. Church of Scientology. What could have been very different between Nazanin Benaidi and Tom Cruise that day if she hadn't had a headache? She could have been the next woman he married. You never know. But that honor went to Katie Holmes instead. Cruise made one of the most public displays of love in history for Holmes. The star telling Oprah and millions of fans how much he loved her while jumping up and down on the couch is hard to forget. There are reports that the Church of Scientology chose Katie as Tom's girlfriend, which might explain why he liked her so much. It looked like they were okay with her telling 17 magazine that she hoped to marry him. Katie liked Tom. People often have crushes on famous people when they're younger, but they rarely end up dating in real life. Katie Holmes was lucky enough to be one of the lucky few. As it turned out, she married Tom Cruise, which is something she'd been wanting to do since she was 15. Holmes and Peele worked together on the teen soap Dawson's Creek, and Peele seems to have known that Holmes liked Cruise when they were younger. From what Mary told the Daily Beast, Katie had Tom's pictures on her walls and knew everything there was to know about him. That's why the Church of Scientology is said to have wanted her. Katie Holmes was interested. It's been hard for Tom Cruise to find love because of the Church of Scientology, but it wasn't said to be a problem with Katie Holmes. The actress was said to have been excited about the religion in the beginning. It's said that she looked into the Church of Scientology after she started dating Cruise and liked what she saw. Still, she never became a full member of the religion. Katie did, however, allegedly have a Scientology assistant at one point. She's said to have turned down a movie part because it didn't fit with the church's view on psychiatry. The movie was the biopic Factory Girl, which came out in 2006. Holmes was supposed to play the major role. Expecting a child. When it comes to some of his relationships, Tom Cruise doesn't stick around. He got divorced from Mimi Rogers too quickly because he already wanted to marry someone else, and he did the same thing with Katie Holmes. They got engaged just a few months after meeting. That's when Cruise decided to ask her to marry him. Even though they didn't get married for more than a year, it was clear that they were ready to give their relationship their all. After all, they told everyone 4 months after getting engaged that they were going to have a baby together. For Cruise, this would be his first real child after Nicole Kidman had a hard time getting pregnant. Divorced from Tom Cruise. If you didn't think the marriage would last forever, you probably wouldn't spend millions of dollars on a wedding. Poor Tom Cruise. His relationships with women never seemed to work out, as we can see from his past marriages. His divorce from Katie Holmes was finalized in 2012. Some people think she may have planned to surprise Cruise with the split. It looked like Katie was the one who filed for divorce in 2012, hiring her dad to get her out of the marriage. She used throwaway computers and cell phones to plan the split so that her husband and the Church of Scientology wouldn't find out about it. Because of this, the split was said to be over in a few weeks. Turned to Nicole Kidman. It must be a little strange to marry someone who's been married twice before, but when Katie Holmes' marriage was over, she probably felt relieved that she wasn't the only one in the same situation. It could have meant that she had people she could ask for help on how to end her marriage without hurting anyone. Nicole Kidman is said to have been asked by Katie for tips on how best to break up with Tom Cruise. They had a relationship in a way because Holmes took care of Kidman's kids while she was married. That being said, it wasn't possible that she would ask the star for help since she knew how hard this kind of split could be. Wives were 33 years. Anywhere Tom Cruise gets married, things end up the same way. That could be why the Hollywood star hasn't gotten married since his breakup with Katie Holmes. He could be afraid that no matter how hard he tries, none of his relationships will ever work out. But there could be another reason. He might not be married yet because he hasn't met someone who is old enough. One interesting theory about all of Tom Cruise's ex-wives is that they were all 33 years old when they split up with him. It's a pretty strange chance that it's happened 3 times now. Some people now believe in the 33 theory because of it. Official cause. Some people thought that Katie Holmes' age of 33 was enough to explain why her marriage to Tom Cruise ended. But most people wanted to know more about why things between them hadn't worked out. Was it the Church of Scientology's fault? Even though neither side has talked about it, that seems to be the most common claim. They might not be allowed to say what went wrong, or they might just not want to think about the bad things that happened. There is one thing we do know. Holmes allegedly got full custody of their daughter, Suri, after the split. It was different from how Tom's first marriage ended, where Nicole spent less time with the kids after they split up. Effect on bond. There is one group that shows up over and over in Tom Cruise date history: the Church of Scientology. The actor's faith seems to have had some effect on most of his relationships, even the ones he has with his children. There's a chance that Suri will not be as interested in church as Connor and Isabella are. Reports say that the father and daughter are less close after being together a lot in the past. People say that because she's not in the Church of Scientology, he isn't as interested in her life as he is in his other children's. The church says this isn't true, but are they just trying to hide what they did? Youngest daughter. Of course, the fact that Tom Cruise hasn't been seen with his daughter much lately doesn't mean he's not involved with her. A famous person doesn't have to be in front of the camera all the time, so they can do things without always being seen. Sadly, it's not just a lack of reports that shows the relationship is tense. A person told In Touch in 2016 that Cruise had not seen his daughter in over 1,000 days. Even though they used to talk a lot, the space between them made them seem like strangers. The person said that the Church of Scientology was to blame because Tom devoted his life to the faith.